Good just afternoon. It's June 29th, and yes, I'm afraid I'm walking downtown again. And I don't know if I'll do my walk when I walk home or not. I haven't the last 2 days for various reasons. So I'm going to quit promising that, but at least we'll take a walk downtown. Today I have a lunch meeting. I actually thought I'd be walking down earlier, but I had to be back for a guy who's coming in to look at the asbestos in our basement, because we have to have it taken out before we can get a new furnace, which we need, or at least a repaired furnace, before we can have our air conditioning again, and it's just been one thing after another this week. Anyway, he came, he looked, and so now I have a lunch meeting I'm headed to down at the Hotel Saskatchewan. I keep thinking it's Friday, but it's only Thursday. It just feels like the week has gone on forever. There's still a whole other day to go. Maybe tomorrow I'll go down there and walk around the lake. I haven't done that for a while. Got people walking home for lunch here, I think. Beautiful day. It's supposed to go about 27 today, I think. Not that hot at the moment. Sun shining. Light breeze. A few clouds. I was in that house once upon a time, I think. I think that's the one. The previous owner. All kinds of people walking my way. I like their front. Somebody doesn't want to mow grass, which I don't really like, but not sure I want to go the completely grass-free route. This house has been sold, so I presume they will continue working on it. Our guess is that they went this far and then waited till they had a buyer so they can figure out the final fixtures and so forth. Hello, Ali, I guess that is. Again, bright light, hard to see. Yes, it's not good morning here anymore, it's now afternoon. And Monica, hello. It was a very good morning, but again, it's afternoon now, 12:05. Lunch hour. For those who count in such things. Lots of lush greenery and nice looking garden here too. It's the sort of thing I'd like to have, but I don't really want to do it myself, but you can't get that sort of thing without work, and I don't know, I feel like I'm at my limit for the number of things I want to be responsible for. Car trouble, we're going to have to take it to Saskatchewan. We had the air conditioning stopped, and that turned into a much bigger deal than I thought. Right down to now looking at asbestos removal. There was something else broke. I remember what that was. It's just been like things not working the way they're supposed to is very annoying. Yes, good afternoon. Let's get it right. Get it right, people. On the publishing side, The School of the Haunted River, which is this book I'm publishing that was written by an author who died last year, but her partner really, really wanted to get the book out. And so it came to me at Endless Sky Books, and it's now available on Amazon in Kindle and print. Other places starting to show up in ebook and showing up in other places in print as of next week. So it's very interesting. It's a very interesting book. She was a great outdoors woman, and this guy really timed his getting through the intersection badly, didn't he? And the book is semi-autobiographical in that it tells the story of an aunt, an older woman, on a snowshoe trip with her niece in northern Saskatchewan in the wintertime. But along the way she tells the stories of her experiences as a student at an outdoor school, which was a real thing that the author Colleen Gerwig attended, and then her huge solo canoe trip across northern Saskatchewan several years before. Let's go down here, just because it's kind of cool. So it's stories within stories, but it's all steeped in a very deep understanding of wilderness camping, canoeing, snowshoeing, all that kind of stuff in the north. Not the far north, northern Saskatchewan, would be far north if you live in the States, but there's a lot more north than that. By the time you get up to Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, the people in the Northwest Territories think of Yellowknife as the southern. If you move south, you move to Yellowknife, so there's a lot of north in Canada. We're the second largest country on this planet Earth. And if Russia keeps on shrinking, someday we'll be first, as long as we keep Quebec. Arrogant Worm song, which is very funny. There's another line that most people will tell you that France is really big, but you could fit 14 Frances into this land of ours. It'd take a lot of work. Oh, airplane going over. Looks like a house, but it says Berries, except I don't know what Berries is. This one says Sunrise Roofing. So a lot of these are, some of them may be houses and businesses, but a lot of them look like houses, but they're really businesses, as I point out every time I walk this way. Pig snout awnings, as I believe I said yesterday as well. They always make me think of. It's called Savannah Square. It's not a square, and it's not in Savannah. But, well, maybe the buildings are pretty square, actually, now that I look at it. Both of them. They're kind of square. I like walking at lunchtime because there's way more people on the street and I feel conspicuous. Still, that's the time I have to walk. So walk I am. They're parking there, so I'll go on across. I was not stepping out because I thought they were still coming. It's the other side of Savannah Square. I suppose it wouldn't look tremendously out of place in Savannah, Georgia, but that's because it's kind of innocuous. There's even a flag on that balcony. See people heading to Fireside Bistro over there for lunch. We have a very popular and at the moment quite busy patio. You can still see the bones of the old house in there, but it's a restaurant now. Another pig snout. Switzerland has banks. They can keep them paying. Maybe we'll take this alley. I don't think I've gone down it very often. Now that song's really running in my head. The USA has tanks and Switzerland has banks. They can keep the tanks. They just don't amount, because when you come down to it, there's really nothing to it. It isn't what you do with it, it's the size that counts. Our mountains are rather pointy, our prairies are not, the rest is kind of bumpy, but boy, do we got a lot. We got a lot of land. We got a whole lot of land. Yep, Canada's really big. That's the that's the name of the song. That's the title of the song. Truth in advertising. Yeah, I don't think I walk down this alley very often. Don't recognize the backs of these buildings. I'd say that one's a house still because it's got a garden. This is not exactly underground parking, but it's better than uncovered parking. This apartment building. Very new, that. There's someone coming up the alley, or down the alley. Down, I guess, since it's to the south. I always look between the buildings to see if there's a way through. Henry's Cafe over there. For some reason, they don't have their patio going, and I don't even know if the cafe's going. Despite the sign, a lot of things suffered with the pandemic. And that may have been one of them. I'm sure it was one of them, but maybe why they have not resumed what they used to have. There's Lauren Street here, Lauren Drugs over there. Lunchtime is annoying if you're driving because of all these pedestrians. And even though I'm a pedestrian right now, I'm finding all these pedestrians annoying. This time I'll walk in front of Tangerine here and by Sterling, which is a musical theater production company. I haven't done anything with them, but I know the people who run it. Tangerine Food Bar here. And they have a meeting room here. I have been in there for something I was at, where there's Rescue Tech and Push Paws Spa and Boutique. Another old apartment building. Here's Sterling Productions. Their last show was Cabaret, which I didn't see, but my wife did. And enjoyed. I had every intention of auditioning last year, and then the timing just didn't seem to work, so I didn't. I was going to audition for Something Rotten, but I didn't. Got a duck. Duck. Nope, you didn't duck. Told you to duck. This way through here, and let's go this way just to be different again. By this apartment building. This one can take us straight on over to the next street, should you choose to accept. Oh, that would take us too far. We don't want to go to Scarth. Hotel Saskatchewan's right up there, so I've actually come further east than I normally do. One of these walks, that's okay. Trying to be different again. So there's the back of the Hotel Saskatchewan, my destination, dead ahead. It's a little interesting to see the backs of the buildings. I don't know what that building is called. I remember when they added that glass box on top of the old brick part that you can still see the facade of. This is Haldane House, which was the law office location of Dr. Morshumiatcher for many years. I was in there once, since we knew the family. I walked by their house, their old house. I think just earlier this week I mentioned it. So yeah, the view of downtown is always a little different coming from this direction and up the alley. Sort of the bones and the backs of the buildings. coming. Might as well keep on going up the alley here. Keep on keeping on. It's the back of the SAS Power Building. Blessed Sacrament Church in front of it. Up on top up there is the Royal Suite where the Queen used to stay when she was here, and I presume if King Charles visits Saskatchewan, he will stay up there. Never stayed in it, but I've been in it 2 or 3 times. Anybody can rent it, obviously, but that's what it's for. Or that's what it's called. Besborough Hotel in Saskatoon has the Lieutenant Governor's Suite. I have stayed in that one when my wife was president of APEGS. We were given that suite, partly because you have a lot of people come and recept. Is that the verb form of reception? Actually, I guess receive is, but that sounds weird. So. Hotel built basically the same year as our house. I think it was 26. Not quite 100 years old, but almost. Same as our house. Probably has had to have asbestos taken out of it too. Or hasn't yet, but will someday. The stuff is inert as long as you don't bother it, but if they see it, it has to come out. They treat it like plutonium, and it really is nothing like that, but anyway, you got to do what the law tells you. All right, we will stop right here before I go into the hotel, so thanks for walking with me. I may or may not do the return walk later. Either way, I will be back eventually. Bye for now.